Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs of 20th of June. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel. This is the name of Telegram channel, GKToday YouTube. Now we have started a new channel, Civils Academy. So here you will get the content in Hindi. So you can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. Now let's start. Pradhan Mantri Bhartiya Janaushadhi Pariyojna is implemented by which union ministry? So recently this scheme was in news as Janaushadhi Suvidha sanitary napkin is being made available at the Pradhan Mantri Bhartiya Janaushadhi Pariyojna Kendras. And these napkins are being made available at a minimum price of ₹1 per pad. And this scheme is implemented by Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So what is the name of scheme? The name of scheme is Pradhan Mantri Bhartiya Janaushadhi Pariyojna. Who is implementing authority? It is the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Why it was in news? It was in news because affordable sanitary napkins are being provided as a part of this initiative. Where it is provided? It is provided at Pradhan Mantri Bhartiya Janaushadhi Pariyojna Kendras. Kendras stands for center. Which financial institution is the regulator of housing finance companies after August 2019? So before August 2019, NHB was the regulator. However, after August 2019, now RBI is the regulator. Now why recently RBI was in news? In this context, RBI was in news as recently RBI proposed modify the rules of housing finance companies, and that's why it was in news. Present RBI governor is Shaktikant Das. So RBI proposed that these housing finance companies should be classified as systematically important HFC and non-systematically important HFC. Now there is one more term, systematically important bank. Answer in comment box which banks are given the status of domestic systematically important banks. As per the BP statistical review, what is the position of India in terms of energy consumption in 2019? So as per this, India's energy consumption in 2019 was the third largest, and it was behind China and USA. India is third in terms of energy consumption. Now this BP statistical review also highlighted that India's energy consumption increased. Prime Minister of India launched the auction process for how many coal blocks for commercial mining. So recently Prime Minister launched the auction process for 41 coal blocks for commercial mining, and this has opened the coal sector for private players. And the Ministry of Coal, in association with FICCI, launched the process of auction of coal under MMD&R Act. What is MMD&R Act? It is Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act. So this coal allocation is expected to bring 33,000 crores of capital investment in the upcoming years. Now, if we talk about FICCI, Sangeeta Reddy is the president of FICCI and Uday Shankar is the senior vice president. How many non-permanent members are elected by United Nations Security Council? Every year. So in UNSC, there are total 15 members, out of which 5 are permanent, 10 are non-permanent, and these 10 are elected for 2 years tenure. Now every year, these 10 are elected in the set of 5-5. That means 5 will be elected this year and next 5 will be elected next year. So it is a continuous process. So right answer is 5. And recently it was in news because India got re-elected for this United Nations Security Council, and this one is going to be the 8th term of India. Now answer in comment box which country has been elected maximum as a non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. So apart from India, Ireland, Mexico and Norway also got elected as non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. And from African seat, Kenya defeated Djibouti and Kenya got elected as a non-permanent member. Now apart from these elections, recently Volkan Bozkir was elected as the president of UNGA for upcoming session. What is UNGA? It is United Nations General Assembly. Now Volkan Bozkir is from Turkey, so he is going to be the first Turkish to head the United Nations General Assembly. The President of Turkey is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Now one more thing, India is going to be the President of United Nations Security Council in August 2021. Now the presidency of United Nations Security Council is based on the alphabetical order of the name of that particular country. So all the members of United Nations Security Council will be president turn by turn. What is the name of Rural Public Work Scheme to be launched by Prime Minister to help migrant workers? So the name of the scheme is Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan, and it is a 50,000 crore scheme, and it will be launched from a village in Bihar, and it will be implemented in 6 states, and these states are Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Odisha. And as per this scheme, the migrant workers will be provided the employment opportunities. So the objective of this scheme is to ensure livelihood for the migrant workers for 125 days, and the objective is to provide employment opportunities to 25,000 migrant workers. So this scheme will be implemented in 6 states in 116 districts, and 25 schemes will be brought together under this Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. So these are the key facts of this scheme. US President signed an act that authorizes sanctions against which country over the mass incarceration of Uighurs? Right answer is China. So Uighurs are the Muslim community in China, and recently USA was in news because of an act to authorize US to impose sanctions on those Chinese officials who are involved in the mass incarceration of Muslims and other minorities in China. Now, recently there was one more controversy about this issue, and one person was in news due to this entire issue, and his name is John Bolton. Answer in comment box who is John Bolton, and if you get time, you should read about the fact that why John Bolton was news because of this entire issue. Okay, now coming back to USA. USA was also in news as recently decided to quit WHO, that is World Health Organization. USA was also in news because of General Charles Brown. USA was also in news because of Kathy Loaders. Which global institution has estimated that India's economy will contract by 4% in the financial year? So this has been estimated by ADB, that is Asian Development Bank. This also projected that India's GDP is going to grow at 5% in the next fiscal. Now, the headquarters of ADB is in Philippines, and as of latest reports, Japan is the largest shareholder of ADB, while USA is second largest. Now, recently ADB was in news as ADB formed a high-level panel for the recovery of Southeast Asian countries after this COVID-19 pandemic situation, and former RBI Governor Dr. Raghuram Rajan is the member of this high-level panel, who has been elected as the President of 75th United Nations General Assembly. So we have already covered this, and he is Volkan Bozkir. He is from Turkey, and India's ambassador to Turkey is Mr. Sanjay Panda. Which football club won the Italian Cup this year, which was restarted amidst COVID-19 pandemic without spectators? So the name of this club is Napoli, and it is a professional football club, and it won this Italian Cup. Italian Cup is also known as Coppa Italia, and Napoli has won this title for the 6th time. Now Italy was also in news as recently Italy started I Feel You bracelets to ensure social distancing. The capital of Italy is Rome, and the headquarters of FAO is also in Rome. Recently FAO was in news because of Sofia report. What is Sofia? Sofia stands for the State of World Fisheries and Aquaculture. What is the name of first mobile COVID-19 testing lab that has been launched by Health Minister to promote testing access in rural areas? So the name of this lab is iLab. iLab stands for Infectious Disease Diagnostic Lab, and this has been launched with the support of DBT, that is Department of Biotechnology, and it is a rapid response mobile laboratory, and it can perform 25 RT-PCR test and 300 ELISA test per day. Now your homework is to find out the basic difference between RT-PCR and ELISA. It has already been explained various times. IM Vizian is associated to with sports. So he is associated to football. Recently he was in news because he has been nominated for the Padam Shri Award and he was nominated by All India Football Federation, who has been reappointed as the Ethics Officer and Ombudsman of BCCI. BCCI stands for Board of Control for Cricket in India. So we have already covered this question in our news section and he is Mr. DK Jain. Sourav Ganguly is the current president of BCCI. Now BCCI was also in news because of this entire India-China issue, as after the death of our soldiers, people started boycotting Chinese brands or companies, and therefore BCCI was also in news because of this, as IPL is the main tournament of BCCI. IPL stands for Indian Premier League, and IPL has close association with various companies who are linked to China. For example, Vivo has a 5-year IPL title sponsorship with BCCI. On the other hand, Dream 11 is an online fantasy league platform of cricket, and this is also associated to IPL. Apart from that, Paytm is also associated to IPL. Both Dream 11 and Paytm receive funding from Chinese companies. On the other hand, Tencent, which is a video game company from China, has stakes in this Dream 11, and Alibaba have stakes in this Paytm. Alibaba is the company of Chinese billionaire Jack Ma. Usually, such kind of questions cannot be framed in question answer format, so that's why I thought I should explain it. Which zone of Indian Railways has installed ATMA, that is Automated Ticket Checking and Managing Access Machine? So this has been installed by CRZ, that is Central Railway Zone, and it has been installed at Nagpur. So this has been installed to prevent the transmission of COVID-19, and this has the features of automatic ticket checking, face mask checking and various other features. Wadhwa port is proposed to be built in which Indian state? So it is related to Maharashtra, and recently this was in news as Environment Ministry recently mentioned that ports are the part of industry and therefore they are allowed in ecologically sensitive area. Actually this port is going to be in the ecological sensitive area of Dhanu Taluka. So recently because of this issue it was in news again. Now this port will be developed on landlord model. Answer in comment box what is the meaning of this landlord model, and this port will be developed by a special purpose vehicle to be formed with JNPT as lead partner. What is JNPT? It is Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust. Now recently which port was renamed after Shama Prasad Mukherjee? As per the recent report of NCPOR, that is National Center of Polar and Ocean Research, which ocean has seen the greatest decline of ice in last 41 years? So it is Arctic Ocean, and this has seen the greatest decline of ice in last 41 years due to global warming. The study conducted by NCPOR also noted that if this trend is going to continue, there will be no ice left in Arctic Sea by 2050. Now if we talk about NCPOR, it is National Center for Polar and Oceanic Research, and it is under Ministry of Earth Sciences. Who is the author of book titled Clara and Son that was in news recently? So the author is Kazuo Ishiguro, and he is British novelist born in Japan, and this book will be released in March 2021, and recently it was in news because the author announced this book. On which day this Sustainable Gastronomy Day is celebrated? So it is celebrated on 18th of June. Now 18th of June is also celebrated as Autistic Pride Day. On the other hand, 19th of June is International Day for Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. 19th of June is also celebrated as Juneteenth. Answer in comment box this is associated to which country? Now apart from that, 19th of June is also celebrated as National Reading Day, as it is the death anniversary of P.N. Panikkar, and he was the father of library movement in Kerala. So that's why 19th of June is celebrated as National Reading Day. So these were the most important questions of today's quiz. Now we are going to cover some important news. So if you want to cover everything in question answer format, you can skip this section at your own risk. So first news is Global Trends Report. So recently this report was in news as it has been released by UNHCR. What is UNHCR? It is United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So this report was released because 20th of June is World Refugee Day. So this report is published every year to track the number of refugees. Next is MCQs. So it is a satellite and it is world's first quantum communication satellite and it is launched by China in 2016. Now why this was in news again? It was in news because it has sent light particles to Earth to establish the world's most secure communication link. So it is a communication satellite and this is world's first quantum communication satellite. Next is Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India Limited. So it is a PSU under Railway Ministry and it was in news recently as it decided to terminate a contract with Chinese firm, and the name of this Chinese firm is Beijing National Railway Research. Now the name of Chinese firm is not that much important, but you should know that which is the nodal ministry for this Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India Limited. Next is Puri Rath Yatra. So recently it was in news because Supreme Court has stayed the annual Jagannath Rath Yatra in Puri in Odisha. Now please note that most of these issues were covered in the Hindu newspaper, so you need not to worry about coverage. Next is AGR demand from non-telecom PSUs withdrawn. So recently Government of India decided to withdraw the demand of AGR from non-telecom PSUs. What is AGR? This is important for exam. AGR stands for Adjusted Gross Revenue. So recently central government informed Supreme Court that it had withdrawn 96% of its AGR demand from non-telecom public sector undertakings. Next is Umifenavir. So it is a drug related to COVID-19 and recently CDRI Lucknow, that is Central Drug Research Institute of Lucknow, received the permission for the trial of Umifenavir against COVID-19 and the CDRI is a laboratory of CSIR. Next is Agriculture Production and Farmers Welfare Department. So recently Agriculture Department of Jammu and Kashmir changed its name and the new name is Agriculture Production and Farmers Welfare Department. Now recently, which state's Environment Ministry changed its name? Please answer in the comment box. Next is related to KYC. What is KYC? It is Know Your Customer. So recently Tata AIA Life Insurance partnered with East Consultancy Services to offer Aadhaar based paperless eKYC services. Next is related to SAST regulations. So these regulations are related to SEBI, that is Security and Exchange Board of India. What is SAST? It is substantial acquisition of shares and takeovers. So recently this was in news because these regulations were updated by SEBI. Next is A Burning. So this is a novel by Megha Mazumdar. Next is Kubatbek Boronov. So recently he was in news because he has been appointed as the new Prime Minister of Kyrgyzstan. The capital of Kyrgyzstan is Bishkek and the currency is Kyrgyzstani Som. Next is K.R. Sachidanandan. So popularly people used to call him Sachi. Recently he was in news because he passed away and he was well-known Malayalam film director. Next is Saral Scheme. So this is an initiative by ICICI Home Finance to provide affordable house loan. Next is related to Karnataka Bank. So recently Karnataka Bank launched health insurance to cover COVID-19 pandemic, and for this purpose Karnataka Bank partnered with Universal Sompo General Insurance. Now Karnataka was also in news as 18th of May. Now Karnataka was also in news as it celebrated 18th of June as Mask Day. Next is Air20. So it has been launched by the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai and it is a mobile application and it will provide information about the ICU, beds and ventilators. Next is special credit facility for street vendors. So for this purpose, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs partnered with SIDBI. And this special credit facility for street vendors will be provided as per the PM Swanidhi scheme. And this SIDBI is going to be the main implementing authority for this PM Swanidhi scheme. This scheme is a scheme for street vendors. and the nodal ministry for the scheme is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Next is related to CCI, that is Competition Commission of India. So recently Competition Commission of India approved the acquisition of Uighurs minerals by Autotech. Next is Global Business Service Center. So British Petroleum, a UK based oil company, is going to set up Global Business Center in Maharashtra to support its global business. And last news is related to RIL, that is Reliance Industries Limited. So RIL became the first Indian company to be valued US dollars 150 billion. Recently RIL was also in news as it announced that it is a net debt-free company. RIL was also in news as recently it was in news that PIF of Saudi Arabia is going to invest in Geo platforms, and this is going to be the 11th investor for the Geo platform. So these were the most important questions of today's quiz. Now homework. First is what is PM Kisan scheme? Second homework is what is the difference between LAC and LOC? Third homework is what is the difference between ELISA test and RT-PCR? Now everyone is covering the news related to coronavirus so seriously, and if you do not know the basic difference between these two tests, then that is not a right thing. So please read about it. So that was all for the day. Thank you.